Later on, we'll be up against Olympiacos, but the pressure isn't letting up. In this video, I prepared some updates for you. Barry Ferguson shares his latest verdict on whether Philippe Clement might be sacked at Rangers, following John Gilligan's comments. Peter Grant weighs in on the idea of Steven Gerrard returning to Rangers and shares his bottom-line thoughts. Celtic could be about to bring a massive financial boost for Rangers in the long run. Offers nothing. Ex-Rangers stars struggles continue as the media rips into his form. Nicholas Raskin gives us a glimpse inside the Rangers dressing room ahead of the Olympiacos clash, and yet another setback for Rangers as Dujon Sterling is reportedly struggling in the lead-up to the Olympiacos match. But first, to get daily Rangers news at your fingertips, just hit the notification bell. Let's get into the news. So, Barry Ferguson's got his say on Philippe Clement, reckoning he's here to stay for a bit, at least if John Gilligan has his way. But let's not ignore the fact that it's getting tight round the ankles for Clement. We're 9 points adrift from Celtic and Aberdeen, dropping points to the likes of the Dons and Kilmarnock, which is enough to make any fan's blood boil. Banners are popping up at games, voicing frustrations that everyone from the stands to the telly box is starting to feel. Yet Gilligan's backing his man, thinking we should ride it out. Not sure how much patience the fans have left for that advice, though. It's wild to think Clement was supposedly a mere 45 minutes away from getting his marching orders when Motherwell took the lead in the League Cup semi-final. A comeback saved him that day, but if you're on a knife edge like that, how long can it really last? Now, it's all riding on this Europa League clash against Olympiacos. A bad result there, and it'll be near impossible to see how Clement hangs on to his job with both the league and European campaigns going south. So here's one to stir the pot. Do you think the board should sack Clement now and risk putting an interim in charge, or give him more time and let things potentially unravel further? Peter Grant's not exactly rolling out the red carpet for a Steven Gerrard comeback, is he? He's made it clear Gerrard wouldn't have the tools he once did, pointing to a weaker Rangers squad and a thin wallet at the board's disposal. And given that Gerrard's own fortunes in Saudi aren't exactly rosy, the prospect of him marching back to Rangers sounds like a desperate gamble. Clement's got his back against the wall, 9 points adrift of Celtic and Aberdeen, struggling on all fronts, from the league to the Europa fixtures. Naturally, the idea of Gerrard returning has folks chatting, but Grant's not convinced, saying even a big name like Klopp or Mourinho wouldn't be able to turn things round without cash. And fair point, really. If the board can't back a manager with decent funds, it's like handing them a Rangers hat without the clout to make a difference. Then there's the matter of Gerrard's past departure to Aston Villa. It wasn't exactly a low-key exit. Some fans still feel the sting from that, and his track record since has been less than dazzling. So even if he did fancy a return, he'd be walking into a messy squad, a dodgy board situation, and a financial setup that would leave any manager in a tough spot. Now here's the million-pound question for the faithful. Would you actually welcome Stevie G back knowing he'd have less to work with, or do we keep faith in Clement and hope he can turn it round? So here's a twist that'll leave a sour taste. Celtic's recent win in the Champions League against Leipzig actually does us a favor. Thanks to their victory, Scotland's bumped up a few spots in the UEFA coefficient table, jumping from 17th to 13th. If this trend holds, we're talking about 2 Champions League slots for the 2026-27 season, a potential jackpot for Scottish football. Now here's the rub. To get any slice of that pie, Rangers will need to step up in a big way. Right now, we're 9 points adrift in the league, having taken some rough hits from Celtic and Aberdeen. And let's be honest, our current performances under Clement are hardly inspiring confidence about handling Champions League competition. Europa League's been the only silver lining, with 2 wins in 3 games, but that's not enough. To really cash in on this coefficient boost, we'd need to see a transformation, a proper run of form in the league, and a real show of strength in Europe. Otherwise, it'll be Celtic enjoying the spotlight alone. So here's one to chew on. Are we willing to bank on Celtic's success bringing us back to the Champions League? Or is it time we sort ourselves out without relying on our biggest rivals? It's safe to say the ex-Rangers lads who've moved on are finding out that the grass isn't necessarily greener beyond Rangers. Philippe Clement's got his hands full building up the new Rangers back at home, while some of our former mainstays seem to be feeling the pinch abroad. Take Ryan Jack, now down in Turkey's second division. Hardly the glamorous move he might have hoped for. Then there's Kemar Roof, who hasn't managed to secure a club at all. And for others, like Ryan Kent and Antonio Kolak, their fresh starts haven't been much of an upgrade. Now, John Lundstrom and Borna Barisic are facing the heat at Trabzonspor. Lundstrom's not made any friends with the Turkish press, and one former Turkey midfielder, Sergen Yalçın, has had a right go at him, claiming he offers nothing and that his presence doesn't make a lick of difference to the squad. Not exactly a glowing review, is it? And for a lad who once gave us that unforgettable Leipzig goal, it's tough to hear he's struggling to make any impact. Barisic isn't faring much better. Apart from a few minutes here and there, he's mostly warming the bench. In fact, his only real run-out came in the Conference League qualifiers, which didn't end well for Trabzon. He started just one league game and has only managed a handful of sub-appearances, clocking up a measly 18 minutes in total. It's a far cry from being a regular at Rangers. So here's a bit of a spicy one for you. Did some of these players overestimate their worth, thinking they'd stroll into any team and make waves? Or did Rangers let them go without fully appreciating what they brought to the pitch? Nicholas Raskins keeping his cool amidst all the turbulence at Rangers as they head into a crucial Europa League tie against Olympiacos. After a rough spell with back-to-back ankle injuries, he's finally back in action and showing the kind of form that had fans excited when he joined. It's been a tough couple of years for him, but now he's talking about the importance of patience, focus, and grinding out results one match at a time. Raskins got his head on straight about the club's current form. He's well aware of the high expectations at Rangers. There's no room for half measures. As he says himself, we want to win every game. And let's be honest, he knows as well as any fan that recent performances have been up and down. But he's convinced there's a good style emerging under Clement, even if the results haven't been quite what we'd hoped for. Ahead of the Olympiacos test, Raskin's emphasis is clear. It's all about the team effort. He's dead right too. Heading into Greece to face a side with the same 2 wins out of 3 in the group means we'll need every man on the same page. No hero ball or solo efforts here. We'll only get something from this clash if they work as a unit, as Ruskin said. So here's one to chew on. Do you think Rangers can finally put the pieces together and make a statement in Europe this season? Or is all this team mentality talk just more lip service until we see actual results? Philippe Clement's got his hands full, and the Dujon-Sterling situation isn't helping matters. Ahead of the crucial Olympiacos match, Clements admitted he's not ready to give Sterling a full 90 just yet. It's frustrating because we know what Sterling can offer when he's at his best: pace, versatility, and a cool head, especially in defense, which has been leaky at times. Clement said that Sterling's been dealing with an issue that kept him from really sprinting, which has kept him from looking like his usual self. A real shame, as the lad could have been just the player to add some solidity to the back line. The timing couldn't be worse either. With Tom Lawrence also out, we're missing both depth and quality. Sterling's last proper run was all the way back in August, and while he hasn't always been a fixture in the starting lineup, his potential impact, especially at fullback, is exactly what Rangers need. Defensive errors have cost us too many points, and a fully fit Sterling could help plug some of those gaps, particularly with Jefty under fire for his performances. Now, Clement's saying the injury is solved, but whether we actually see Sterling properly involved between now and Christmas will be the real test. And it's hard to ignore the feeling that this kind of stop-start season might be derailing our plans. So here's a question to stir the pot. With so many players in and out of fitness, do you think it's fair to blame Clement for these defensive slips? Or is it down to a lack of consistent quality on the pitch? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon.